It's 2:00 and it's already been a hell of a day for the Texans. My goodness, we had the best day of practice, most intense day. I believe this will go down as one of the more important days of Texans practice in 2025. And I'll lay out why and what the observations were. It was very star-studded, very full. By the way, pads go on Monday. There's going to be pads. If you want to attend that practice tomorrow during a special locker room stream at 11 a.m., I'll give away a pair of tickets.
There you go.
So a pair of tickets to the padded practice tomorrow at a special 11 a.m. stream for those of you that may want to attend. Before we get to that, though, Cody, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird when it happened, and the way in which it was presented, we kind of had some fun with. And now we get the news from Ian Rappaport that Joe Mixon is going to miss an extended period of time with a, quote, frustrating foot injury. Now, where do we want to attack this? Do we want to talk about what this means? Do we want to talk about that wording and try to figure some stuff out? Obviously, we'll get everywhere, but how do you want to attack this first?
I think I want to start to reevaluate it closer to the season to determine his availability. Well, when the hell is that? Because that could be, is that next week? Is that in West Virginia? Is that after the first preseason game? Is that after the second preseason game? Are they evaluating Mixon in the last week of August before September starts? And then that's going to be evaluated to determine his availability. So they don't even know when he's going to be back, much less when they're going to take a look at when he can be back. So this is a much more scary situation than we initially thought when you had people saying in June and July that, oh, Mixon's going to be fine. Mixon's going to be fine. Well, he's not fine. Okay. And Schefter got it wrong, and Aaron got it wrong, and a lot of people got it wrong. And Mixon's not fine. And now they don't have a running back that you can count on.
Yeah. For me, with this Joe Mixon news, there's a couple of things that kind of cross my mind here. And I actually have, with this Joe Mixon news, I have 5 thoughts about this Joe Mixon thing. And I'll throw these at the people, but 5 thoughts, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 5 thoughts about this Joe Mixon news. Thought number 1 is the best case scenario still leaves a lot of questions, because I think the best case scenario is he's full go, ready to go once you face the Rams in week 1, and he goes out on the field and he's the starting running back, and it feels, I guess, that all is right. But the question I have is it important for Joe Mixon to get on-field work in this system at all? Because it is a new system. There is a lot of different terminology. There's different approach. There's different schemes. So
different offensive linemen that he's got to get used to.
Yeah. So is it important for Joe Mixon to get some work in this system? I would probably lean yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably lean yes. The other thing is, how does the foot hold up? Like, as soon as you tell me that a running back has a foot injury, like I don't know too many times where there wasn't at least like some symbol of that injury kind of hanging around over the course of a season. When you start talking knee, foot, ankle, all that, especially for a running back, does that linger around is kind of the question, and how is it going to hold up? So even the best case scenario for me kind of leaves a little bit of concern when it comes to the Mixon thing.
Sure. And my main worry is the stuff behind Mixon, but it is worth worrying about Mixon overall, even when he does return, even if he is on the field week 1 in Los Angeles on Sunday afternoon, carrying the ball for the Texans. Like, there's still worry behind him. And then the worry about him when he is actually available is certainly the biggest worry. Like, I don't believe they can run the football without Joe Mixon. And if he's not going to be healthy to start the season, or he's not going to be healthy before the season gets going, it's a pretty tough situation for the Texans to handle.
And Patrick says, yeah, he did manage to navigate last year's alone, but he practiced behind them all like the whole time. Like he at least had like some sort of.
He missed some time in training camp, but he still ultimately had training camp.
Next question I have, as we're going through the 5 thoughts on the news that Joe Mixon's going to miss, quote, an extended period of time, whatever the hell that means. The Mixon dependency has been something that we've talked about even when we thought Joe Mixon was going to be good to go. It was in question even when fully healthy. And we talked about it leading up to the draft. We talked about in the offseason, multiple backs to be able to ease the load and ease the expectations that you're going to have for a running back that's going to turn 28 that you were way too dependent on last year, to where if he wasn't in there, then there was no hope at having a good run game more times than not. So even with Joe Mixon, and based on what we've seen without Joe Mixon, the Mixon dependency was in question, and it does not feel, unless Dameon Pierce is just going to come back as effing Superman, it does not feel like the running back depth was going to be adequate even with Joe Mixon.
Yeah, and I mean, even Dameon Pierce, not on the field, has not practiced once in this brand new offense. And we know he had trouble picking up the offense for when Bobby Slowick took over. He said as much. And so Dameon Pierce hasn't practiced, and betting on Dameon Pierce to be the savior of this running back room is a precarious spot to be in. So they did not do a good job of putting stuff behind Joe Mixon. Even if Mixon was healthy and out there practicing right now, I don't believe they did a good job.
Next thought, and this is a question: can any of the current guys carry the load? Like, is there anyone on this team that can carry the ball 15, 20 times if Joe Mixon has to miss time in the regular season?
No, they do not possess a person that can one-for-one replace the carries for Joe Mixon. That guy is not on the field. Dameon Pierce isn't even on the field right now. Jawar Jordan can't do it. British Brooks can't do it. Daria Gumbawale can't do it. And Nick Chubb cannot do it. And the Texans can put up a highlight in slow motion where it looks like Chubb's moving good. He's not moving well. You know, Nick Chubb is not moving well out there. Oh, well, he's never been a speed guy. Yeah, but he's never been that slow either. And he lacks the agility that some of the other guys possess. It doesn't look good from Nick Chubb, so it's not him.
No, the most awkward moment of practice today, and I promise we're going to break down practice. This Mixon stuff dropped as we were kind of preparing for this. The most awkward moment of practice was when they put Nick Chubb back there at kickoff, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone look that slow. And I know it was just kind of a look, but I mean, this is kind of where you're running to the outside. It was a little bit rough. Next thought is, when it's a question too, is an adequate committee a possibility? So you don't have a guy who can run the rock 15, 20 times. It doesn't appear. Is there like a committee possibility to potentially hold down the fort for Mixon? I will say this. Woody Marks looked all right in the pass game today, and that's kind of one of his strengths. So if you're talking about committee, you'd like to have a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think today was where we really saw, and that was his most impressive body of work. But today was where for the first time in camp, we really saw that on display, Woody Marks catching the rock. So I think from that part, there's a little bit of intrigue. But outside of that, is there a potential committee that you would feel okay about if Mixon misses time?
Well, I think you asked me two different questions. Is there a potential committee? Yes. Is there a potential committee I would feel okay about? No. They're going to have to lean on a couple of different guys to get this thing done, because we don't believe there to be one guy that can. But there's not really a mix and match where I'd feel really good about the running back room. Like, oh, hey, it's Jawar Jordan, British Brooks, and Woody Marks running the football for you. Okay, so we're Texas Tech in 2007 and not running the football? Like that, if that's the running back room. And look, Jawar Jordan's had some really nice moments in training camp so far. British Brooks had a couple of nice runs today. But if those guys are leading the committee with a rookie, who's many people thought was a third down running back, that's not a very good running back room that you can depend on. So I do believe they're going to lean on multiple bodies. I'm just not going to feel confident in that committee that they put together.
And the final thought, this is a question: should they bring someone else in? Do you think they need to look at bringing someone else in? I think the answer to this question was yes, even before if you would have told me Mixon was going to practice Monday, I think they should be open to bringing someone in. Honestly, like I'm not sitting here saying like they have to desperately like call Deontay Foreman or call Jamal Williams or some of the other guys that we're talking about. But I mean, I thought that should be something that they should be keeping their head on a swivel with, even before I knew that Joe Mixon was going to be out for a quote extended period of time.
Yeah, they should bring in some more bodies, and especially because they likely have an understanding of when Dameon Pierce is going to return. And again, I'm not saying he's a solution, but you'd at least need to find out. He's in the building for a reason, so you at least want to find out. But a couple of bodies couldn't hurt. The free agency list is super unimpressive. It's a bunch of guys that, probably at some point in the past 10 years, you've picked up off the waiver wire for 1 week and in fantasy football, and they weren't worth a hoot. I've talked about this before. I'd call New York and see if they'd trade you Devin Singletary for a late round pick. And I know that was the previous offense that he had success in, but that's at least a body that's had some NFL success. The people in the building know him. He played for Dable back in the day. Hopefully there's some familiarity between what Dable and Nick Caley would run. So there's the option. That's the tough part, is the options are limited, and you probably need to bring a body in. So it's like
the Rashad White or something out of Tampa Bay is like name that got throw out there a little bit. Then just because they have the kid, yeah, they have Bucky Irving doing his thing. Like there's some names, but I mean, really, you're just kind of in a weird spot at running back, and really you just hope Mixon can come back and be serviceable. Sure. But I think it's damn near irresponsible to expect Joe Mixon to do this year what he did last year and carry that much of a load. I just think that's a lot to ask.
You've had a guy that's just, there's only 2 guys that have had more touches than him over the past 5 years, and he turned 29 this week, and that's the time of running back expiration. And sometimes you can go in the fridge and you can look at the thing past the expiration date, and you're like, yeah, maybe I could make this work, but you're real close here. And I mean, it's also, for 2025, it's a huge concern. It's also, they have a massive concern for 2025 or beyond 2025 too. But
you can figure that out. If you actually prioritize it, you can handle the running back position. That's the beauty of the running back thing. But we don't need to get ahead of us. We're not starting the off season already. There's still hope here, Cody.
Yeah. So I guess my oh man, bring them in wish list is trade for Devin Singletary and I guess Jeff Wilson.
What's wrong with Jamal Williams?
Okay, Jamal Williams, sure.
Although he kind of turned into like a short yardage guy, but Jamal Williams,
well,
funny guy too.
Nobody's really getting any yardage right now, so they could have freaking Barry Sanders back there, and they wouldn't be getting yardage. Actually, maybe Barry could get some yards, but
do you think so? We'll get into this practice again. The pads will be on Monday. Thought this was a real important practice. Do you think, based on like using your eyes and like kind of imagining what the yardage would be in pads, do you think that in the first 4 days of practice, the offense has rushed for over 100 yards?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, like I was thinking about this, and I was talking to someone about this on the side, and I was just like, so they still run the ball probably half the time. You can tell, like today, for example, Watson caught a ball. Justin Watson caught a ball on the sidelines, and he immediately juked and cut up field. That would have been that play would have translated whether they're tackling or not. Like he was gonna have an opportunity for a really massive play. And there was another time where D'Angelo Ross on special teams, it looked like he kind of slid past the guy, but he really just avoided tackling him. And in pads, he would have done that. And we stay doing it with CJ when it comes to like the sacks, like talking about that. I don't think they've rushed for over 100 yards. I don't know that they've rushed for over 85 in the first 4 days of practice.
I don't know that they've rushed for 55 or 65. Like they have not run the football well. Jawar Jordan had one nice run yesterday or 2 days ago, on Thursday, for what I would amount to be like 11 yards. British Brooks had like a 8-yard carry the other day. And those have been like the only like ones that you can really mention. Like, and sometimes you see the team will do this. They'll put a highlight out and you're like, oh, well, look at all those rush yards. Like, yeah, but actually like in pads that guy would have got tackled easily. Like if a running back goes through like the shoulder of a defensive lineman and keeps running, well, you got tackled when the guy touched you the first time. And there were a couple of times today where I'm watching and they update the down and distance on their video board. It's like Jawar Jordan, and he does all these great moves, and he makes some moves, and then he finally gets going, and then I look and they give him 2 yards, and I'm like, golly, man, I ain't getting no push.
Shout out to HDAV Traveler, the soup.
You ain't never had my friend, thank you.
Swarm.
So let's get into practice. So it was a star-studded day today. Some of the fans got there. I think at like 7 a.m. Seems a little bit unnecessary, but it's cool to probably say that you got there that early.
The news reported 5 a.m.
Well, 5 a.m. even better. So there were fans. Tank Dell was there too. Tank Dell was there. Andre Johnson was there. They started the day with the news that Janice McNair will be in the Hall of Fame, or the Ring of Honor, I should say. So there was that. We found out early on that Jalen Pitre would not practice. And that was where my attention goes from there, because as soon as that happened, I said, okay, this is an important practice. This isn't just an important practice because there's people there in the stands and it's a little more intense, but this is really important because if you look at the way that the season ended last year, a big part of that and what was on display was the fact that you didn't have Jalen Pitre and you didn't have Jimmy Ward. So Travis Kelce was able to just completely take advantage of the Texans in coverage. And the manner in which the Texans play football without Jalen Pitre, I think, is important. And it wasn't something that they did well last year. And it's a big reason why their season ended despite a pretty decent effort against Kansas City. So right off the top there, I knew what my assignment was. Like in journalism, when you're covering a game, when you go to a press conference, I immediately knew what my assignment was. My assignment was, okay, I'm going to watch and I'm going to see how they practice and I'm going to see how they play during team without Jalen Pitre.
We in here talking about practice.
So that was where my attention shifted right off the top, Cody.
Well, and to add to it, Arthur Millette, who is the only other player that practices with Pitre when they break out into individual positions, he didn't practice either. So it was a total unknown as to who was going to get those opportunities at that slot cornerback, nickel cornerback, whatever you want to phrase it, the position that Pitre plays. It was an unknown. I mean, obviously you have some speculation because Miles Bryant did it last year, but that was certainly a big piece. And then there's also the option of just not putting that DB on the field and how many more 3 linebacker opportunities will the defense have? So that was definitely a key piece. And I also think Pitre should be investigated for wearing that disgusting sweatshirt that he was wearing. It looked like it was 15 shades of different colors. Like he'd worn it nonstop and hadn't washed it in 2 years.
I think that I think the theory there is that I think that's his sweat. His like wants to sweat. He's trying to make himself sweat shirt. It's sometimes I'll wear a hoodie like when it's 100 degrees just to like go outside and like sweat. I think that's what that was.
Well, it was gross.
Yeah, it didn't look great. So not too many people saw this. As a matter of fact, I think only 2 did. But there was a near disaster early in practice, and it wasn't like overly close, but something really bad could have happened. So they were throwing passes like deep down the sidelines for ball warm up is what they called it, and they were throwing it to the corners and they were throwing it to the safeties. And Derek Stingley was running full speed on the sidelines. And they threw the ball over his head out of bounds. So it's like over his shoulder. Stingley still tries to catch it. And he runs to the side, kind of near the tent where the trash can is on the other side. And there's a blocking sled laying there that they didn't completely push across. And he misses the blocking sled probably by like 1.5 feet. And he's just so athletic that he could still kind of see it out of the corner of his eye. And he didn't veer any more right. Like he was trying to avoid the sidewalk. But if he had gone like 1.5 there, and those things are heavy as hell. Like that is full steel right there. Then we might have been talking about like the most disastrous one. Remember the D'Amico Ryans injury at NRG? Like we would have been talking about, my goodness, Derek Stingley got hurt because this guy didn't push the blocking sled. And right after that happened, one of the training staff people runs over and immediately just pushes it as fast as they can across.
Yeah. Make sure that's squared away. And also, Stingley, if they overthrew you, man, you won the rep. You won the rep. You don't have to go get it.
He can't, because Derek Stingley, even during special teams, he's sitting there like foaming out the like he can't leave a football field. What did I say to you? I said that Derek Stingley is going to get married on a football field. He's going to propose on a football field. Like he's obsessed, so he can't slow down. But it would have been. I was talking to Jonathan Alexander because that's who I was sitting by with the Chronicle, and I was like, so if that happened, like if Derek Stingley gets hurt running into a blocking sled, like you're done with practice, right? Like you're just going, you're going and riding, right? He's like, F yeah, are you kidding me? Fortunately, that didn't happen though.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So then we get to install, and during group install, I was wondering, okay, how are they going to practice minus Pitre? Because the last time that we were watching practice with Pitre, you and I came to the conclusion, okay, this is their base defense. Like, so Pitre, when usually in this period, when Pitre's there, it's 2 traditional backers and it's Pitre. So it's To'o and Azeez Al-Shire, and Pitre's out there, and he's basically your third linebacker, and he's like nickel, all that. Well, in install, it was for 4 reps. It was 2 linebackers, To'o and Azeez and Miles Bryant. Then they went 4 reps, 2 backers and D'Angelo Ross. And then they went back and forth between Bryant and Ross. So Bryant and Ross were practicing like Pitre, and the backup corners, this is of note, Tremont Smith and Jalen Smith were the backup corners. Arnett is third string with Jalen Smith. So they were using Bryant and they were using Ross in install, which led you to think, okay, well, this is how they're going to attack it. And they kind of waited a little longer than usual. We'll get to that as we go through team.
Yeah, and that's, again, because Millette, it didn't practice either. So no Pitre, no Millette. And so they have Bryant, and then they have D'Angelo Ross.
He's a good special teamer.
He had a nice play. We'll talk about it at one point.
Well, how much resistance did he have? That's another question. So we go to team one. And between that, there were special teams. Not really much going on. The same guys back, returning punts. Now, Braxton Berrios did kind of show off. He did the Pac-Man Jones drill where you catch multiple. You catch a ball, hold it, catch another ball, hold it, catch a ball, hold it, catch a ball. He got 4 deep. He didn't get to 5.
Yeah, he got to 4, best I could tell. Noel got to 3, couldn't catch 4, and Christian Kirk got 1, couldn't catch 2.
Well, I don't think he's going to be returning punts anyway, so it's okay. Just make plays on offense, which he did. So we get to team 1. Very sloppy start. The offensive line.
Go ahead.
The first offensive line, left to right. Tell the people what that was, Stutes.
Cam Robinson at left tackle. Jalen Thomas, who is a second-year player out of SMU, previously is listed as a tackle, but he's only played guard for the Texans this year so far. He was at left guard. Jake Andrews at center. Titus Howard at right guard. And Blake Fisher at right tackle.
Yes. Also known as the revolving door. Then you had a Nico Collins drop.
Oh, my
right
God.
up the top, little bit behind.
That should have basically been a signal that the offense was going to have a rough day.
Then you had Daniil Hunter blowing up a run. You had a Hutchinson kind of hitch. Then you had a false start.
That Hutchinson play was it was on Stingley too, by the way. It was a good play.
Yeah, it was a good job by him. I think Hutchinson's gained at least 10 pounds of muscle.
Maybe.
He's massive now. He must have saw that younger Iowa State guys were coming in and they looked like they were in a completely different training program. And he was like, I got to hit the damn weights. He was putting in like 3 a day. He's like, I can't have these young bucks coming in here and outswolling me. So then we go to the second offensive line. Lay out the second offensive line left to right for the
Ariante Ursary at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Jarrett Patterson at center, Ed Ingram at right guard, and Zach Thomas at right tackle.
Yeah, Zach Thomas is a second teamer. Like it's there the whole time. So you had nothing really there. There was a pass across the middle to Wayne in front of Jalen Reed, the safety. Then Slovis came in, lay out the third offensive line left to right.
Well, before we get to the third O-line, it was like a sign of like Darrell Taylor going to have a day. I mean, he just absolutely smashes Zach Thomas.
He had a really good day.
Now the ball got away, and that was the play where Jared Wayne caught the ball in front of Jalen Reed, and then Reed accidentally tackled him. And then that next play, perfect, pristine, right over the middle, hits John Metchie in the hands, boom, drops it.
Yep.
Drops it.
Lay out the third O-line for Slovis.
And then that third O-line is Austin Deculus at left tackle, Jalen Thomas at left guard, Juice Scruggs at center, Ladarius Henderson at right guard, and Blake Fisher at right tackle. And then they kind of run the ball a couple times. That was about it.
Yeah, it was really not. Although British Brooks did have a promising run. Like there was a little bit of kick there. And by promising, I mean maybe a 5-yard gain, which is massive. I mean, that's a top. That's leading Sports Center with the way that they run the ball.
If they're just doing Sports Center on Texans training camp, it's like, look at this run by British Brooks, and he gets 5 yards.
And our top play of the day, British Brooks. Look at that, 5 yards.
Here's the FedEx ground delivery of the day. There's British Brooks rushing for 5 yards.
So then we go to special teams, punt return. Really not a ton to see, although I will mention that in team at the end, John Metchie had a drop. And during special teams, D'Amico was kind of consoling Metchie a little bit. Kind of, hey, what's up, man? You know, keep your head up, blah, blah, blah. Which leads me to this question. What's the ideal plan for John Metchie? Like, I would say there's probably 6 or 7 receivers, probably 7 receivers that have maybe 8 receivers that have had better camps than him. We thought he was kind of fighting an uphill battle. Yeah, I would say Nico, Kirk, Noel, Higgins, Berrios, Wayne, Hutchinson. So yes, I would say 7 receivers are having better camps, and we thought they were probably ahead. What's the ideal plan with Metchie? Like what is their how did they see this going?
You do the Mark Ingram with him, and you get a draft pick that's conditional in the 7th round 2 years out, and see you later.
Yeah, I would say my Carolina Panther bet kind of still alive and well. Yeah, Wayne, I mean, I don't think this is like hyperbole. Like he's better. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that it's very close. Like Wayne has actually had a pretty decent camp. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's had some moments, certainly.
Yeah. So during special teams, I will say, and I don't think this is like a huge deal, and I don't think the bar is that high for such praise that I'm about to give. But I think Damon Arnett had his best stretch, and we were right there for it. On special teams, he handled his business. Like he got singled out by the coaches, and then as he was on the side, they called Arnett out. It was almost like they wanted to see if he was capable of playing special teams, and he did another really good. He did a good job again. So Damon Arnett, special teams, you're definitely going to have to play. And I think as far as special teams, this was a good showing for Damon Arnett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a really good rep, and got some platitudes
2 reps
for it.
Don't sell him short. 2 reps.
Got some platitudes for it, and he's got quite the climb to make the roster. So he needs.
Yeah, I could see him. I mean,
I don't see him as a practice squad guy.
Why?
I feel like you just keep somebody else instead of him.
Yeah, I mean, someone a little bit younger with more upside or something.
No, I think you just keep D'Angelo Ross instead of him. Like consummate professional. You know, you can bring him in for special teams usefulness.
They love D'Angelo.
They do. We'll talk about D'Angelo in one of these team sessions.
Oh, we will?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tease right there. Y'all hang around. I'm just kidding. Team 2 breakdown.
Same line as the first time we talked about it.
Yeah, the lines were the same. Now, I didn't mention this in Team 1, but in Team 1 and Team 2, they went traditional 3 backers. If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they had Hansen on the field with Toto and Aziz for a good portion of that setup.
Yeah, so they were playing traditional defense. We didn't see him playing Pitre ball just yet with Bryant, but trust me, that will arrive, and it will arrive in a big way. What caught your eyes on Team 2?
So the very first rep of Team 2, Blake Fisher actually had a fantastic rep against Will Anderson. Slowed him down, stopped him. Anderson tried to change the direction. It didn't work. It was a really good job by Fisher. The unfortunate aspect of that play is as Fisher's doing his job over on that side, Jalen Thomas got absolutely bullied by Tim Settle Jr. And Tim Settle's had a really nice camp. I know we haven't talked about him a ton here on the camp, but he's constantly in the backfield for the run plays, and he's had some pass rush success as well. So that was a really good job by Fisher to get started on Team 2. The next play, they get Stover out on the sideline, and he turns up the field, and I'm sure Jake Hansen would say that he would have pushed him out of bounds, but in pads, I think Kate Stover would have lowered that shoulder and kept going. And then the next play is the best offensive play of the day. The O-line does their job. They block everybody. CJ's back. Boom, he whips that thing across the middle. Christian Kirk's open. CJ Gardner-Johnson can't cover him. Big play. You're like, okay. Offense feeling it a little bit. And that's about the last time the offense did anything of note.
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
Yeah, and that was it. That was definitely it.
The very next play is what I think this is such a good job by you. The very next play was a swarm sack. You started calling them swarm sacks when it's just a team sack.
It's just easier to do. Like it's just like it basically just means everybody got through swarm sack.
My note was 55 sack, but also 51 and 92. Like everybody got there. Everybody got turned. And then they went to the second unit. And that first play of the second unit, our guy Jalen Reed was screaming in from the safety spot for a blitz. And probably at a live rep, he probably decapitates Mills, after he gets rid of the ball. But, he kind of held up there. Mills got rid of it. But that was cool. And then here's your D'Angelo Ross play. Dalton Schultz almost embarrassed him. There's a nice little, they kind of tossed it up.
There's a nice back shoulder toss by Mills.
Kind of tossed it up. Schultz was up in the air, had his mitts on it, and then D'Angelo Ross just sticks his hand up between Schultz's arm and rips it out. And he was just hitting them with the no-fly zone. It was great. It's great job, D'Angelo Ross. And then Davis Mills got sacked by
another
Mario
swarm
Edwards.
Sack. That was a swarm sack. We can give Edwards half.
And then
we can give Edwards 1/10 of the sack.
And so then it's like at that point it's like third and pretty long. I don't know exactly what the yardage was. And then that was that slick play by Justin Watson.
Yeah. He would have had a chance to run. It was a smooth juke. It was kind of like the catch it and then back, and then the DB kind of whiffs on you. It would have been an even worse whiff in tackle, actually. Like that would have been, he was gone.
Yeah. So I thought I gave him the first down on the play because I like the move and I felt like he got there. They got to the third unit and who's there?
You already know. Handle your business, Wody.
What happened to that boy?
Solomon Byrd starts the third unit of Team 2 with a sack. He is freaking everywhere. And that's not the last time you're going to hear about Solomon Byrd as we break down this practice. He is freaking everywhere. I got another swarm sack. Jeez. And Stover laid out for one, and the pass was just like,
yeah, but that was kind of, I actually think, I don't even think the pass was that bad because it was actually a good job of getting rid of it. Because I think there was like four or five guys breathing down his neck, and somehow he got it off. So like you could say technically it was an overthrow. I get it. But I actually thought Mertz did a really good job, like standing in the pocket and even giving that, like avoiding a sack, honestly.
Yeah. I probably could have given that sack to Casey Toohill in my notes, but I decided to say incomplete. And it was Stover covered a lot of ground on that dive too. I mean, he went full extension, and it did not miss by much. That would have been the play of the day easy if he'd done that.
Yeah, but that was Team 2, and it was just really the Kirk and the Watson play is really as good as it got for the offense because it got ugly after that. So we had a little special teams kickoff, really not much going on, and then they gave the guys a 5-minute break. Hannah McNair was working the sidelines. I think they had media availability with CJ's mom and someone else, I think.
It's the CJ Stroud Foundation donated money to a charity that helps out single mothers.
Yeah, yeah. So good. That was very nice. And then by the way, I feel like Stingley's dad's been working out even more. Walking around the sleeveless, man.
I mean,
he's always been pretty swole, but
he did not lack muscle definition prior,
So then we get to Team 3 after they iced up with the break, and we finally see Miles Bryant in the Pitre role. And it starts off with Blake Fisher getting roughed up by Will Anderson, which is pretty common.
Quick note, change to the O-line here with the first team.
Okay.
Ursery at left tackle, Scruggs at left guard, Patterson at center, Howard at right guard, and Fisher at right tackle.
Yeah, well, the right tackle got burned by number 51, which happens.
First play, and Anderson just absolutely demolishes him.
Then 2nd and 7, Nick Chubb, he got stuffed and then decided he was going to run an extra 40 yards. Maybe he just wanted to like see if maybe he just wanted to get some exercise, but he clearly got like very stuffed and then just kept running. Then we had a skip pass from CJ. Then Davis Mills comes on the field.
Well, you missed where Blake Fisher got destroyed by Daniil Hunter too.
Oh yeah, on the right side. Yeah,
they swapped. Will Anderson and Hunter swapped sides, and the result was the exact same. Now it's worth noting, Ariante Ursery got smoked by Anderson on the other side too. But
he has a 2-piece.
Yeah, Blake Fisher just. I mean, I'm not. Maybe he has superpowers when the pads come on, but it.
Oh, okay, you think it gets better for him when the pads are on?
I think DeMeco Ryans, he didn't criticize Blake Fisher, but he accidentally laid the groundwork for like clear criticism of Blake Fisher. It's like, well, you have to stack days in training camp. Like you have to put a good day on top of a good day on top of a good day. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, Jesus, Fisher's putting a bad day on top of a bad day on top of a bad day. And the question was about like, how do you not?
It's hard though, man. It's hard. He's just been worse than no one's been great, but he's just been worse than everyone else. Like that's really the best way that we can say it. Like you get graded on a curve. It's understood that you have the best edge duo in the league, but he's just been worse than every other tackle, including Zach Thomas. Like he's been worse than every single tackle is the best way I can put it. Whether he's on the first team, whether he's on the second team, like everyone's giving it to him.
Bird, Taylor, Toohill, Anderson, Hunter.
Not great.
Barnett won a mental rep against him. Like, you know.
A mental rep against him. Good Lord.
Blake Fisher's out here losing mental reps.
All right, so then you had a sack by Taylor of Mills, and this was actually against Cam Robinson.
Ooh,
now,
that's good.
There was a nice flag route thrown to Brevin Jordan, which on one hand you say it would have been a sack, but I don't think that it really impacted Brev Jordan's like individual matchup, if that makes sense, because those guys were looking downfield. So I think you can give credit to both the offense, specifically Brevin Jordan and the quarterback, and the defense as well. It's kind of one of those things where you balance out, you know, what you're watching and how things are going. Because it's not like the DB slowed up when Jordan caught it. So there was that. Then you had a little PBU by Mr. I guess we credit Reed. Are we crediting Jalen Reed for the PBU? It was intended for Noel.
I got it written down as Jalen Smith.
Reed was there too. It was Reed and Smith.
We're crediting it to Jalen. Pick your choice on who you want.
Yeah, you pick. Pick a Jalen. Pick a rookie named Jalen.
Yeah.
Flip a coin.
It's Jalen versus Jalen.
Yeah, pick a rookie DB named Jalen.
At that moment, that was the most Jalens in one spot ever in the history of ever.
So then it is really time for the defense to dominate. So you have you actually have a little 21 action. So we got some traditional fullback stuff going on, and you got a solid run by the way by Woody Marks. Like this was Jakob Johnson, who by the way, he's going to be the most popular guy at camp on Monday because I got word that NFL Germany will be in town, and I heard that he's like a god out there. There aren't a lot of German like big football players. NFL Germany is going to be here, and Jakob Johnson will be like. That's the reason that they're making the trip from Germany to Houston, just to basically like talk to Jakob Johnson.
So this will make it the third straight year that NFL Germany's had like some supreme interest in the Texans because Killian Zier was a backup offensive tackle for the past couple of years who's from Germany. But Jakob's like Zier had no chance to make the team. He was an international pathway player at one point. Like Jakob's got like a chance to be on the 53, and they've been following him for a few years now. So a big day for the Germans.
But yeah, pretty good job lead blocking by him. Then just I don't know what this slop was, but it looked like there might have been a false start. Then there was a skip
false
pass.
start.
Yeah, and then it was just a garbage play. And then Miles Bryant with a pick six, followed by CJ Stroud trotting onto the field and Azeez Al-Shire with a pick six. Now, this is why I think this is relevant. And this was a real relevant stretch. And this is where started out the day saying this was an important practice. And they extremely passed the test in a matter of 2 plays. Now, you can say they passed the test over the course of it without Pitre, but you have the guy that is in the Pitre role having a pick six, and then you have the guy who got completely exposed when he had to cover more as a result of Pitre and Ward being out, and he has a pick six against the first team offense. So this was where the test that we laid out, the assignment that we laid out before as to what to watch, this is where the test was passed. Now, then they just started showing off and getting extra credit. We'll get to that in a second. But I think this was a very important stretch based on what we were discussing before practice.
That Miles Bryant pick six, courtesy of Solomon Byrd pressure as well. Like he gets in there quick, forces the QB to make the decision, and gets the pick six. The Azeez play was just, it was incredible coverage by Al-Shire, and CJ just never saw him. I mean, Azeez just steps right into the throwing lane, boop, right there, takes it back to the house. And I guess that had been a talking point from the offseason as he spent some time with the DBs at one point this year to work on his coverage ability should he get asked to do that again. And it wasn't good last year. And check the box early on, a few days into training camp, it looks a little bit better. I mean, he was ready for CJ. And if Azeez hadn't caught it, I think Toe was standing right behind him. And so I think he'd had one too.
Sarge, Big Sarge always talks about like camps and stuff. He always has like the notion of like where the out of town camps are. Aaron Wilson will be at any camp in town, but like out of town Sarge is at a camp. I guess he brought up that Azeez went and worked on his coverage with the DBs.
Yeah,
he brought up, which I wasn't aware of, but that was a nice nug by Sarge that I guess appropriately so. Coverage was a point of emphasis for Azeez Al-Shire, and you can tell I'll be honest, I'm not like paying like close attention to his coverage. Quite frankly, to be honest, I would probably only notice it if he makes a really good play or gets completely burned. I'm not like just keeping a close eye on it, but hey, props to him if that was something that he emphasized because his coverage, let's be honest, was a big reason why the season ended last year in Kansas City. So props on him, to him.
Really good job. Really good job. And then the defense just kept pouring it on. My God.
Yeah. So then you had after the 2 pick sixes, Nick Chubb with a decent cut. I think he had his probably long in camp, 3 yards. And then you had another swarm sack.
Well, I credit that one to Will, but if you call it a swarm sack, I'll believe you.
I mean, okay, we'll give it to Will. And then you had
he doesn't need any charity sacks. Like it's not like I'm not giving him some sort of like it's not some guy that I really like. I'm like, no, he had it. Like if Will gets it, Will gets it, you know?
Yeah. So then you had a throw behind Hutchinson for Mills, and we're going to special teams. Now, special teams was
Darrell Taylor on a pressure that led to a Jalen Smith pass breakup, by the way.
Yes. Darrell Taylor had a good day.
Darrell Taylor had a great day.
Yeah, got the dreads going too. Yeah, he had a really good day. And he's gonna be a problem. he's gonna be a problem. Like as far as a rotation goes, I could see a scenario where Darrell Taylor's like your I'm trying to make sure I'm not saying anything crazy. I could see him being DE3.
Sure.
I mean, I know where Barnett, but yeah, I could see him being DE3.
I would think that their ideal defensive end room is probably Anderson, Hunter, Taylor, Barnett, and Horton.
Yeah, and by the way, I made this note in the previous special teams. I'm glad you mentioned Horton. He's a really good special teams player. Like he's a really good special. He is a really like I don't think we'll like talk about him like we will Tremont Smith and Hansen and Ross. But Dylan Horton is a really good special teams player. Solomon Byrd is too. Like they're both like defensive linemen that are pretty damn good special teams players.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's going to be times where you're going to need some of those depth guys, especially if you're, you just think about the roster. You keep a fullback, you keep a specialist that's a return guy. You're going to need some of these defensive linemen that go out there and give you a coverage rep. Where you got to run down the field and go make a play or something on the kickoff. So it only helps their case.
So in special teams, we had a pretty funny moment. You had a play where there was a kick return and Henry To'oTo'o is just going full speed and he just punches the ball out just perfectly and smoothly. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know like how hard they're supposed to be going or if that is the right way. And obviously it was perfect because he punches it out and Frank Ross comes over and I have the quote in my notes. Frank Ross comes over, he sprints about 20 yards and he yells, "That's what we need every damn time." That's what we need every goddamn time. I'll say, and he's like slapping Henry To'oTo'o on the shoulder. So Frank Ross was very fired up on that.
Yeah, he was pumped for him.
So it was exactly what he wanted there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to team 4. We got a 4th team. How about that? 4th team session. I think the offense probably wishes they would have only had 3.
The offense would have done anything to have ended practice early.
So this is where it gets really ugly. You can break this one down.
So your offensive line to start, Ursery at left tackle, Scruggs at left guard, Andrews at center, Howard at right guard, and Fisher at right tackle. And CJ Stroud drops back. He knows it's going to be pressure. There's been pressure nonstop. And he throws it 3 yards to the right of Dalton Schultz. And he just immediately starts smacking his own helmet because he just blew the pass. Like it's flat out. He knew pressure was coming. He knew what Schultz was running, and he just blew the pass. And it's like, okay, well, now you're in 2nd and long. Well, what happens? Will Anderson goes out there and kicks Blake Fisher's ass. And Danielle Hunter meets him at the quarterback. It's like, okay, well, now you're in 3rd and really long. So they go to run the ball, just, set up the punt. What does Aziz get? A tackle for a loss.
Oh, and he starts hitting his head.
And he's losing it. He's excited.
He's doing the Kamari Lassiter hit the head.
So they reset him, and now it's 1st and 10. And CJ throws it over the middle, and Aziz bats it down. And it's like, golly, what are we doing here? Like the defense is just kicking their ass.
And then it kind of continues as Davis Mills comes back in. Jawar Jordan for about 2 yards.
Yep.
Cole Popovich was paying extra close attention to something going on here. I wish I knew what. Maybe just the entire right. He was looking on the right side of the O-line.
Well,
the whole time.
Once it got to, I think it's team 4. It might have been team 3, but I think it was in team 4. He walked over and was listening in to what the play call was and would be. I mean, he was like,
it was 4.
He was probably, I would say less than.
It was 4 second team. It was team 4 second team where he was really zoned in.
And he's less than 10 feet away. And so he'd listen to the call and then he'd back up and watch. And, he doesn't have the earpiece like some of the other offensive guys do. Like the quarterbacks all have the earpiece. Like the defensive guys, like D'Amico has the earpiece, Burke has the earpiece. Like, see, he didn't have an earpiece, so I guess he's just listening for the call and then watching his guys, which I thought was. I couldn't have told you one thing Chris Strausser did last year, but now I noticed Cole Popovich.
Yeah, he's a lot more noticeable though, for just being fair. Then Higgins across the middle, a lot of space.
Nice play.
Very nice play. Then you had a Horton sack and a Swarm sack.
The Horton sack is notable because he just absolutely brushed Brevin Jordan off. Like Brevin Jordan went to block him, made some contact, and then was looking around because Dylan Horton was gone.
Patrick pays such good attention. He said Chris Strausser did an audio interview. Yes, he did, and it was weird.
Patrick said, "Oh, to put a O-line coach on camera. How about that?"
Weird. So then Mertz comes in, a little out to Lachey, kind of probably like 4 or 5, maybe. Then another run stuff, and then another interception. Jalen Reed, an interception off of a deflection. The rookie out of Penn State picks off the rookie out of Wisconsin and Florida. Then CJ comes back in, probably wishes he would not have. Pass tipped up in the air by Danielle Hunter.
Taylor sack.
Yeah. And we also had Nick Chubb, just kind of more of the same mixed in there, kind of sideways.
And then guess who? Blake Fisher sitting in CJ's lap a couple seconds later.
And then CJ Gardner Johnson with a pass breakup.
Sheldon Rankins toasted Titus Howard at one point on one of those.
Toasted. And this was, so I didn't watch the final sequence because I thought this was like a real like proportional sports analogy. I was watching what was going on in front of me. So right as they bring in the third string and practice is about to conclude, I would say there's probably like a minute 50 left. So they're not really trying to do much. Tim Settle and Sheldon Rankins are sitting there, and Sheldon Rankins is just acting out what he did when he broke off Titus. And Tim Settle's sitting there like talking to him. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like they're exchanging moves and kind of just kidding around and like, laughing and having the best time ever. And then Mario Edwards comes over and he's like doing handshakes with like everybody, and the entire D line's having the best time. It reminded me of like a basketball game where it's a 45-point blowout and you see the starters on the bench just sitting there joking around, goofing off, talking about stuff and like all that, which is appropriate because I think today's practice was about the same as a 40-point ass whooping in basketball, if we're talking about the defense versus the offense. And I thought it was just a fitting way to end things. And you know what I said to myself? This is an overreaction. This might be an overreaction, might not be. These defensive tackles are going to be okay. There's concern about what they will and what these defensive tackles, especially with the way that these edge guys are, they're going to be okay. I was never like overly concerned. I think they might actually be really good.
If Rankins is going to be a force a little bit closer to what we saw 2 years ago, then they're going to be just fine. They've had some moments from some of the depth guys at defensive tackle too, but Settles looked good in camp. Rankins had a really nice play today that you mentioned, and Edwards has been back there a few times. And, they've even had some contributions from Hamilton and Tafuna at times. So they've got options, and that was their big thing. They're going to have options at defensive tackle. They haven't even put Foley on the field yet. Imagine how tough it's going to be to run when Foley gets on the field.
Yeah, then you got Fatukasi. I don't know what Heinrich is going to do, if he's going to be out there. But, yeah, so the moral of the story was I thought this was one of the most important days of camp. They passed the test. Because last year when they didn't have Pitre or Ward, the defense struggled. Didn't happen today. The defense dominates, and they very much passed the test.
This is a very small thing because every training camp's different and every team runs it differently. We've yet to have an offensive touchdown, though. And I watch all these other training camp highlights, and I'm like, wow, Malik Neighbors had 3 touchdowns today. Well, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's like all these other training camps, there's a lot of like opportunities for the offense to like.
They're not
get in
really.
the end
They're not
zone.
really moving up. They're not really moving up either.
Yeah, I mean, like they're
Like whenever Kirk gets to the 30, they're not going up to the 30.
yeah, they're resetting back to where they are. So, but I
Yeah.
gotta assume maybe that'll change when pads come on.
Maybe. The Rhino on the soup.
My God, thank you.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Landry Rizmaster, thanks for the Saturday coverage. Like the video, people. Yeah, like the video. We're 300 deep in here. Like the video. Por favor. Please. For the people who don't understand Spanish. Not everybody hablos like me. But yeah, I thought this was an interesting day. I am a little bit worried about the run game. Yeah, but you know, the defense is going to be so good that maybe that it just needs to be an opportunistic offense. And they are going against a really good defense.
Yeah, it's
Like I don't think this offense just sucks. I think the offensive line's not great. I think at some point they just gotta. How do you handle Blake Fisher at this point? Like if this continues, like how much longer can he perform like this and still be getting like first team reps?
I mean, I'd chop the reps now if I was them, but that might be an overreaction, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty
without
harsh. That's
without
pretty
it being-
harsh, Cody.
without it being pads, but nobody gets their ass kicked like Blake Fisher.
Yeah, it's been a rough start, but we'll see. Got to get those good days. He gets an off day today, and the good news for him is he gets to put the pads on.
Oh, now that's good news, huh?
I don't think so, but you know, at least he can convince himself. You got to convince yourself that you got to convince yourself of it. Ah, man, we didn't have pads on.
This time it's different. I got the pads on.
What if we saw how would this make you feel in a hypothetical world? And this is a hypothetical, people. How would this make you feel about Blake Fisher if, as they were walking off the field after practice, you heard him, you kind of saw things getting testy between him, Daniil Hunter, and Will Anderson, and he was like, "Wait till we put the pads on, bitches." Well, how would you feel? Would you feel a little more confident about Blake Fisher? What if he's like sitting there telling, "Wait till we put the pads on, fellas"?
I don't think that'd go well for him. I think that would be.
We're gonna strap on the pads. See what's going on.
It's good. This time it'll be different with the pads on. This time it'll be different every time I start a diet.
Doyle on the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Great coverage today, guys. Time to bail and get 55th birthday wasted. What goes into, before you go, Doyle, what goes into 55th birthday wasted? Like, are we talking whiskey? Are we talking beers? Are we talking like because that's kind of it's a brave, I want to know. Happy 55th.
Double nickels.
Where are we going? Where are we going on the 55th birthday wasted? That's impressive, to say the very least. That's good cigars and top shelf bourbon, someone says. I could see that. Cornbread and buttermilk, Sam says. Okay. Doyle, geez. Beer, Fireball, and edibles. Go get them, my man. There you go. That Doyle don't mess around. There you go. Happy birthday to Doyle.
Happy birthday, Doyle.
That's how you celebrate 5-5. Beer, Fireball, and edibles. There you go.
Well
Shout
done.
out to him. Enjoy yourself. Rest up tomorrow. And be ready for Monday because that's when the pads come on. Special edition of the Locker Room tomorrow at 11 live stream. I'll give away 2 tickets to the padded practice. Make sure you can go. And if you have any extra tickets, just forward them to either one of us and we'll get them in the hands of someone who wants to go. We promise you that. Subscribe, like, ride along. By the way, Hannah McNair made fun of Cody Stutes for shaving his mustache. She said he looks like a weasel. So
That's not what she said.
She said he looked like a weasel.
She said, "Did you change something?" And I said, "Yes, I shaved my mustache. It seems to have been a mistake." And then she told Cal, she goes, look, he's not in the mustache club anymore. And I was like, I'm growing it back. She goes, is that why it's all stubbly? I'm like, yes, I'm trying to grow it back.
Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.